Welcome back to the Sports News Analysis YouTube channel, where I'm always breaking down the hot sports topics of the day. So be sure to subscribe to my page here to get all of my sports talk videos delivered directly to your inbox on a daily basis. The news tonight that we've all thought has been coming for a while looks like it's going to happen. After the game tomorrow, the Browns and owner Jimmy Haslam will fire head coach Pat Shurmur and general manager Tom Heckert. So now the official rumors can start as far as who will be the next coach of the Cleveland Browns. I have a short list of guys, 5 guys that I think will be top contenders for the job. Some I think are more reasonable candidates than others here as we head into the search and the rumors and this guy was flying here. This guy had an interview. Why aren't they interviewing this guy? There'll be a bunch of stuff that'll come out now about this job. But I just thought I'd run down my list of possible candidates and see what you guys think. First is Josh McDaniels. Josh McDaniels is a guy I've heard heavily rumored on the different sites and message boards and NFL websites I've been reading. I think you're going to see Josh McDaniels' names come up a lot, especially if Michael Lombardi gets that GM job. If Joe Banner and Jimmy Haslam decide that he's the man for the GM job, I think you'll see McDaniels' name gain a lot of steam. McDaniels, sandwiched in between stints as the New England Patriots offensive coordinator, he was the head coach in Denver. Certainly, sort of jumbled things up when he was there for sure. He was the guy who drafted Tim Tebow in the first round. He's also the guy who jettisoned Jay Cutler and Brandon Marshall out of Denver. So, definitely not a successful first time as a head coach for Josh McDaniels. He's been an offensive coordinator the last 2 years. Right after his stint with the Broncos, he was the offensive coordinator of the Rams last year under Steve Spagnuolo. And then this year he was back in New England with Tom Brady and the Patriots and back in his old stomping grounds, if you will. I'd be careful with hiring Josh McDaniels only because no one from that Belichick tree has ever really worked out as a head coach on any level, really. And I don't know what Josh McDaniels has done in the 2 years since he got fired from Denver. He blew up that organization pretty good and definitely left some lasting footprints there that took them a while to sort of dig out of. They had the whole Tebow mess to deal with, mainly because of Josh McDaniels, and now they've ended up all right, obviously with Peyton Manning. But I'd be careful with Josh McDaniels. But I think he's the name you'll hear. Then I think you'll hear a couple of reaches, right? I think you'll hear Nick Saban and Jon Gruden mentioned. Nick Saban's not going to be available until now, January 8th. Do they want to wait a full week to name a new coach to start interviewing? Do they want to wait until the 9th or 10th until Saban has a chance to interview, only for Saban to think about it and turn them down? I think the only way you see them pursue Saban is if in some way Saban's people have reached out to them in advance and told them that he'd be interested. Saban's a guy who spent time with the Cleveland coaching staff in the past. He's from Ohio, so from that perspective, there is some connections. The only way I see Saban going there is if for some weird reason he has the yearning to want to really succeed at the NFL level, and he thinks he's accomplished all he can in college. Because if he wins this national championship, it'll be his 3rd with Alabama, his 4th overall. I would never understand why he would leave a job like this. But I'm not Nick Saban, so I don't know what makes him tick. But I think he's the name you'll hear. Also, Jon Gruden. Jon Gruden, another guy with Ohio ties. Does he want to leave TV? I think that's the biggest deal. That's the biggest issue here. Does he want to leave TV? He'll be working with a guy in Joe Banner who comes from that Eagles system. That's where Gruden was the offensive coordinator. Gruden comes from that same tree as Andy Reid, so there'll be familiarity as far as the offense they want to run. I really think that the Banner-Haslam combo is going to go for a young offensive mind. I think the only guy that'll be willing to go, 2 guys that'll be willing to go outside of that realm for are Gruden and Saban. Gruden's a Super Bowl winning head coach. There's not many of those, that would, 1, consider going to the Browns and 2 that are available. Because I don't think Cowher or Billick would want to go to Cleveland. So is Gruden a possibility? First and foremost, does he want to leave TV? Does he want to leave that cushy cushy job on TV. There's rumors that he wants to coach in warmer weather climates. So Cleveland obviously wouldn't fit that either, but he's a guy I think that they'll send overtures to nonetheless. The fourth guy I want to mention as a possible candidate is Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly falls into that young offensive mind mold here. He'd come in with that up-tempo offense. There's been now some proof of that translating to the NFL, so I think that helps the Browns a little bit when they're evaluating Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly would be a splash hire. We've seen college coaches come from the college ranks into the NFL. We've seen Pac-12 coaches recently come from the college ranks and have success in the NFL. See Pete Carroll, see Jim Harbaugh. So there is precedent there. So I don't think they get blasted publicly for hiring Chip Kelly, which I think you have to factor in here, especially a new owner making his first coaching hire. I think Chip Kelly is a guy that is going to draw some interest from a lot of pro teams, but we'll see. Jimmy had those some rumors with Chip Kelly and the Browns, maybe a month or two ago, that he's a guy that Haslam liked, and we'll see how that sort of materializes with Chip Kelly as well after his team plays in the Fiesta Bowl. Fifth name I'd like to throw out there is another younger offensive coordinator, and that's Greg Roman of the 49ers. Greg Roman is a guy that's an off-the-radar name, might not be a name that you've heard or that is going to be, a splashy name, but he's a good young offensive mind. He comes up with all those he's come up with all those unique sets and packages and motions that you see the 49ers run. Jim Harbaugh is quick to give Roman credit and saying that, the 49ers are running Roman's offense. He certainly believes that Roman has what it takes to be a head coach. Roman does have connections to Cleveland. He played at and coached at John Carroll University in Cleveland, so he has connections that way. I think Roman would be a good choice, but I think this owner is going to try to make a splash first and then kind of work his way back. I think you'll see Roman sort of materialize as a candidate for a lot of jobs here that are going to be coming open here after tomorrow. I suspect some more coaches to be officially fired, and you'll hear his name if a team's looking for a hot offensive coordinator, an offensive coordinator that's produced results. I think you'll see Greg Roman for what he's did with San Francisco and improving that offense. I think you'll hear his name mentioned quite a bit. I know I didn't really mention any defensive guys. I look at Saban as being sort of a lesser version of Belichick, where he's got his hands on both sides of the ball, offense and defense, more of a well-rounded head coach. I really think unless they can make a splash with Saban, I think they're going to go for an offensive mind, and if they can't get Gruden, they'll go for a younger offensive mind like a Josh McDaniels, Chip Kelly, or Greg Roman. I think that's where you'll see them go, but look for this owner again to make a splash. What do you think of my list? Do you think these are guys that they'll consider? Do you like any of the names on the list? Do you not like any names on my list? Let me know. Hit me up in the YouTube comments. Hit me up on Twitter as well, @SNewsAnalysis. And be sure to subscribe to my page, guys. Thanks.